Hi, my name is Jen. For those of you who don't know, I have celiac disease, which is an autoimmune disease to gluten. So because of that, I had to learn how to make a lot of my own foods because gluten is very tricky. It finds its way into a lot of different marinades, salad dressings, places where you really don't think you'd ever find it. So I'm going to show you today some of my favorite snacks that I make and some different alternatives that I can swap in and out. So my first snack is going to be vegetables with guacamole. I tend to stay away from chips because sometimes there could be a flour dusting, even though a chip might be a corn chip. You have to do a lot of research and you have to look into the ingredients to make sure that there's no other gluten to be found because it's not only in wheat. It could be in soy sauce, it could be in preservatives, it could be in additional flavorings or natural flavorings. So I typically try to stay with fruits and vegetables, and I get a little bit creative so that I can still enjoy my foods and my snacks. So I'm going to be preparing some celery as well as some carrots, just into small sort of bite-sized pieces so you can scoop up either some salsa or guacamole and it's still a fun way to eat. So I have all my veggies in here. You could also add cucumber. Anything that sort of has a scoop is helpful if you have salsa or guacamole. And for the purpose of this, I purchased a guacamole today to show you how to sort of go through ingredients. So over here there's a gluten-free symbol, which should indicate that there's no gluten in this product whatsoever. You still have to do your own research. I've definitely had instances where I've had to contact companies and make sure that everything in here was safe for me to eat. So in here, all that there is avocados, tomato, onion, lime juice, salt, jalapeno peppers, pepper, and coriander. So this is pretty much what I make on my own. I might toss in some chili flakes, some more lemon if I need, and yeah, this is a good guacamole. So next I'm going to show you some salads. I try to keep them interesting because, sometimes there's croutons and that has gluten in there. I make my own salad dressing. I basically try to cover all my bases and I use a lot of fruits and vegetables. An example of that, I use dried cherries to get a little bit of sweetness in there. I have some pear. For a little bit of a crunch, I'll use some nuts instead of croutons, or I'll use sliced raw almonds. Or I'll also sometimes use, a trail mix or anything that can get a little bit crunchier. So I'm just going to continue cutting these up and then I'll put it all together. So I'm going to start by adding in some mixed greens. Sometimes I'll use different types of lettuce. So this is what I have today. And then I have some pear. I like to have tons of color, whether that be fruits, vegetables, nuts, anything that I could add in to give a salad tons of color. You want to get all of your nutrients. Put everything in here, not super precise, and then I'm going to toss in the dressing and I'm going to mix it all up. So I also like to have a starch because I can't have bread, so I use some brown rice. I also like quinoa, and I'm just going to put it on the stove and add some water to it to boil it. I'm going to start with the firecracker salmon. I'm going to start with the garlic. So we're going to add 3 half teaspoons into our bowl. 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to move on to the ginger, and we're going to do 1 teaspoon. I use minced garlic and ginger just because it's a little bit easier, but you can, I'm assuming, use fresh. Everything is a little bit better when it's fresh. Do 1 teaspoon. We're going to add that in. And then we're going to add a 1/4 cup of olive oil. Add that into the bowl. I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of our gluten-free soy sauce. I think it's okay to use the same cup as we've used before. And then we're going to add this into the bowl. We're going to mix it all together. mix it all together. I'd like to get a close-up. And we're going to soon marinate the salmon. I just took the salmon out of the fridge. It was in there for about 2 hours. And I substituted the soy sauce with tamari or gluten-free soy sauce. And now we're going to pop it into the oven. So here is the final dinner. We have the brown rice, my homemade balsamic and oil dressing, our salad with cucumbers, dried cherries, pears. We have some almond slivers and orange pepper. So we have some sprouts, and we have homemade salmon that I used tamari with, as well as some chili flakes, some sriracha in there. And that's dinner.